What is a secret that could get you in serious trouble if it came out? I don't actually enjoy my mother-in-law's cooking. At all. I flooded the hotel on a field trip for school as I'd turned on all the taps in the men's bathroom and didn't understand why they weren't working. I'd found out later there was a 10-minute cutoff of water supply during that time, but forgot to turn off the taps after turning them all. Coincidentally, a few of the taps had plugs in them that I hadn't noticed at the time. This caused 2 floors to suffer a lot of water damage, including the girls' dorm, which would cost a lot to fix. I guess this is why public places moved to push taps rather than manual. Only one person knew I'd entered that bathroom during the time period, and he kept quiet as the teacher grilled everyone. I refused to say anything as I didn't want my family to get fined and also didn't want to be ridiculed, so to this day 15 years later, I've not told a soul. Except Reddit now, lol. Edit, didn't expect anyone to like this story. Thank you so much for the support, guys, it's made my day. I take care of an older lady through a home health company that is very not there for the clients. I called my office and they said they would make a note of it. A fucking note. This lady was extremely sick one day and I drove her to urgent care. She's not allowed in my car and technically I should have called 911, but she lives extremely far from any hospital. It would have been at least 90 minutes before anyone actually showed up. So I took her. The following week she wasn't doing any better and she fell 5 times in a couple of hours. I contacted my office to let them know again, same response. So I packed her an overnight bag, took her dog, 13-year-old Chihuahua who gets along with my 13-year-old Chihuahua, to my apartment, and we went to urgent care with me in the room with her so I could advocate for her. Once urgent care was done, they didn't do crap this time and she refused the ER, but she wasn't as dizzy. She stayed the night at my apartment for a couple of days so I could actually make sure she was okay. Her family is shit. The company is shit. And no one trusts the ER or hospital here. The nurse in me couldn't just let her go home when she was falling so much. I broke a lot of rules and I'm aware it was extremely unprofessional of me. However, I am happy she is better and that she was 5 minutes away from the hospital if she needed to go versus the 90-minute minimum wait at her home. I feel shitty for reacting the way I did, but I don't feel shitty knowing she was in a safe environment. Edit, I did not expect this to blow up the way it did. Thank you everyone that said amazing words and sent hopes that we won't get in trouble for what we did. Some have mentioned how it's not unprofessional, and I truly agree. However, I'm not allowed to even let her know my fiancé or where I live on top of letting her in my car. I agree, I did the right thing, but coming from a management/state and everything, it is considered unprofessional. Thank you everyone.
I must agree with the other Redditors, you truly restored my faith in humanity.
I used to work in a call center for my country's tax agency, dealing primarily with benefits. The government here gives regular payments to people under a certain income threshold, which isn't that low, and so a good chunk of the population here gets those payments. A frequent type of call we would get at the call center was asking about why they didn't get the couple $100 the caller was expecting to receive as usual. One day I answered a call from a lady who didn't get her expected payment. We would get all sorts of callers, and you get a pretty good sense of when people were being legitimate and when they were telling you a sob story to play on your emotions. This lady called in about the missing payment and was clearly trying to hide the fact that she was severely devastated about not receiving the payment. It turned out that it was her daughter's birthday the following day, and she was planning on using that money to get her birthday gift, which she now had no means of buying. I noticed when she called that she lived in the same city as me, maybe about a 10-minute drive away. The database we have access to is the government's central taxpayer database, and it has a fuck ton of info on every single taxpayer in the country. Access to any account and any bit of information on an account is highly monitored, and anything you access is strictly and demonstrably need-to-know access only. Even the slightest violation is an insta-fired offense, and depending on what was accessed, your termination can be accompanied with criminal charges. Needless to say, recording any bit of information and bringing it out of the office is a big no-no. But when she called, I really felt for her. It wasn't a catastrophic situation like the calls sometimes are, but there are also a lot of callers who are clearly trying to guilt you into getting something. And she was clearly beside herself, and actively trying to minimize and hide just how devastated she was that she as a single mother wasn't going to be able to get her preteen daughter a birthday present. After looking into the situation, there was nothing I could do to get her the missing payment. And she lived barely 10 minutes from my place, so I decided to say fuck it, I'm doing a good deed today, and memorized her street address. After work that day I went to her house and knocked on the door. She answered, and I told her that I was walking down the street and saw a $100 bill on her lawn as I pulled it out of my pocket and asked if she had lost it. She burst into tears, and through happy sobs she told me that I had no idea about the day she's had and how timely this was. She did not refuse the bill when I gave it to her, and then gave her some cheesy line about how the universe is a mysterious place. So I mean, technically, was this a gross abuse of our country's taxpayer database? Absolutely. Did I feel bad about it? Not in the least, lol. The first month I had my license, I hit the side mirror off of someone's car while driving down a narrow street. Nobody was around to see it, and I knew my parents would freak out and be even more strict than they already were, so I panicked and kept driving. I have spent 20 years feeling guilty about this. One time when I was in a restaurant, I overheard a random couple talking about how someone had done the same to her car. I anonymously picked up their tab. Didn't really make up for my mistake, but at least made me feel a tiny bit better about what I did when I was an idiot 16-year-old. I work with a lot of dementia patients, and I wish to dear God you could just euthanize them. There is nothing more heartbreaking than watching their families desperately hold on to a person that is no longer there. They are just empty shells, they don't recognize anyone or anything, they don't remember getting hurt when they get hurt, so they become distressed very easily. I hate it. I hate it so freaking much and wish that we could just put them out to pasture. I do not really love my so anymore, and I think my SO's interests/view of the world is taking a turn for the worse. So is somehow starting to get sucked into too many things that a normal sane person would dismiss outright, and it bothers me more and more. I'll just put them out to pasture. I have no actual desire to do most things. Buy anything, go anywhere. I work to just support my family and their wants/needs in life, and I just go along with whatever goals they have in life because I feel like I've done all mine. It's a secret because it would just cause arguments and my wife wanting me to do more counseling or something with pills. And I'm good, I'm pretty happy. I just have no real goals anymore in my life for myself. I'm tapped out, I did all the things that mattered in my life. Debt-free, 6-figure job, live overseas, sell/own homes. 4. Create a family that's non-violent and loving, family vacations monthly/bi-monthly, been around the world. 2x, west to east in USA road trip. 3x, Vegas, adopted kids. 3, have bio kids. 2, married. 2x, and more. Like I said, tapped out, and I'm not even 40. I had very little goal, starting from a trailer park in a small town, and by time I was in my 20s I already exceeded my life goals. And just been adding to them, but now I'm out of ideas/wants/needs. Edit, wow, thanks for all the replies and side stories that came from this. I've never seen my alerts at 170+ before when logging in. LOL. Hope you all have a great day. I worked at a big name crafting/fabric store for a while in college. It was kind of fun. I've always been referred to as an old soul, so I got along really well with all the old ladies that went there. I'd ask them about their projects and what they were working on. It was really nice, and they seemed super excited to share their stories with someone who cared. Now, this big fabric store chain does the thing where they overprice their wares, but then they go on sale for a more reasonable price. Well, the sale price is what the items should be priced as because that's usually closer to what they're worth. They just use the sale thing to make you feel better about spending exorbitant amounts of money. There are sales all the time, and there are coupons on their app, but there are all sorts of weird loopholes and stuff that makes those coupons meaningless. I worked as a cashier, and you might already see where this is going. The coupons all had the same barcodes and could be used more than once. So, when an old lady would come up to the register and be spending over $100 just for some silly little crafting supplies, I'd be like, oh look. I just found this coupon. How convenient. and I'd give them the discounted price. I would also apply those discounts to most of the other things. The 40% off one item doesn't work on anything on sale. But the whole store is on sale. So these people would be excited to use their coupon, and it wouldn't end up actually working. BC the thing they wanted was on sale. So I just bypassed that and entered the product key manually to change the price. I saved people hundreds of dollars over the time I worked there. It was over the summer and into the fall, so like 4 to 5 months. Was it illegal? Possibly. Was it sketchy and could have gotten me fired if anyone found out? Absolutely. But the customers were always so grateful and happy, and they were going to make so many cool things. I wanted to help their creativity grow, not be the reason it got squashed flat. Also, they had us sweep up all those fake silk flowers that would come off their wire stems and onto the floor, and we had to throw them away. They were still perfectly fine, they just couldn't be sold, I guess. So instead of throwing them away, I'd put them in my pocket and take them home to scrapbook with or make into cute hairpins. To heck with that wasteful nonsense. Until next time, and remember to stay hydrated.